I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name.
Everywhere you go. Have you seen Sean Strickland at all this week?
No. Some boys said they see him like running away from hotel fast after the media. The guy who said like he gonna shoot me, he gonna do this, that, and I don't know why he's still at the other hotels. And he was thinking like no one gonna control me, and the guy is not here. We control this guy.
You know, do you feel, what made you post the sparring footage yesterday, by the way? Why did you post that?
No, just I find old videos, some stuff, just post that. Because he's saying like, I spar only weak people, you know. And on the video, we spar easy, you know, like just touch sparring. It's not like 100% like usually I do, I like, because he said he doesn't want to spar hard. And when I started his hard, he was coaching like, Coach Eric, these guys starting to punch hard. Yeah, like he had some problems with his coach Eric too, because I punched him hard. And he was always calling him like, yeah, can you stop this guy?
Round, third, fourth, fifth round is going to be fucking miserable for Khamzat Chimaev. Now, with all that being said, for Khamzat Chimaev taking on Sean Strickland, I'm going to have to go with Khamzat Chimaev. I think Khamzat Chimaev has just shown more in his fighting style. I mean, what he did to DDP, what he's been able to do to Kamaru Usman. He has a certain way that he goes about his fights, which is he goes out there and he takes everybody down. Sean Strickland has never been manhandled or out-grappled, and I think Khamzat Chimaev can do it, but he's got him in as a gas tank. I've seen him train before, and sometimes it's good to train as hard as you can. It's so good to train hard. But sometimes when you train that hard, when it comes to fight time, he might be overtrained. But I am going to predict a finish for Khamzat Chimaev, and he's going to be dominant, beating Sean Strickland.
It's hard to say. Like, I definitely think he has an argument now, especially because he's beaten Imavov and because of the way he put away Fluffy. But honestly, it's anybody's guess. You know, it's anybody's guess. The title fights and like contenders and that whole conversation is just so, random sometimes.
I mean, I know you've been in there with Khamzat, man, and Sean Strickland's taking defense is pretty good, but we haven't seen him in there against. Like, would you say Fluffy and Khamzat, it's two different levels when it comes to the grappling, would you say, like in terms of the way, the strength and yeah.
Absolutely night and day. Like, having been in there with Chimaev and seen, and everyone who saw what he did to Dricus, like it's not the same. It is not the same.
And do you believe he would have much of a shot against Khamzat after this performance?
The battle between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland represents one of those matchups where expert opinions scatter in every direction. Some analysts focus on the grappling advantage and declare the outcome obvious. Others believe Strickland possesses the tools to shift this into an entirely different type of contest. The diversity of perspectives creates genuine intrigue, so let's examine what the fight community predicts and where they see this clash potentially heading.
Australia. Anyway, I was with Robert Whittaker and I asked him, I said, what's the deal with Khamzat, man? How strong does he feel? He said, well, Number one, his shot is so fast, you just don't see it coming. Khamzat, as we know, he does shoot a double leg from quite far away, covers a lot of ground, gets a hold of the legs, and then of course he's got tremendous technique and he gets on top of you. And as we know with Robert Whittaker, he got the face cranked and smashed all of his teeth in. He said, listen, that was an existing problem. I got into an accident when I was younger, so they were always kind of unstable and a little bit loose, but come on, let's be honest, you got to give it to Khamzat. He crushed the man's teeth in. So of course he's strong, but Whittaker does believe that Sean Strickland has a chance in this fight.
He raises that knee and then jabs you at the same time. His knee might be a deterrent for Chimaev shooting in freely. If Chimaev times it wrong, he's going to go straight into a knee. And no matter who you are, that's going to hurt.
And I do as well. If he can survive the first round or two, and it's such a cliched expression, but if Sean can survive the first round or two, never mind any of the emotions, or if he goes out there and doesn't fight on emotion, Strickland's always emotional. Khamzat's always emotional, and Khamzat's had some...
The security makes sense, a lot of intensity.
No, it doesn't make sense. You let a Neanderthal in this country who can't keep it together for 5 days. And the worst part about it is you're not even being a man and saying, hey, I'm going to fight you in the parking lot. You're saying my friends are going to fight you. So security's here, dude, because like you are the scum of the earth. That's your answer.
Yeah. It has to make you feel like the president.
No, it just makes you, it reminds me that I'm fighting a man.
Analyzing Strickland's arsenal, Demetrius Johnson praised his jabbing prowess and defensive wrestling skills. DJ went so far as to claim Sean might possess the most effective jab across the entire UFC roster. What impressed DJ was Sean's ability to remain upright like a statue while consistently neutralizing takedown attempts. However, when the conversation shifted to Chimaev, DJ's reasoning for favoring the Chechen became clear. Johnson explained that while Chimaev strikes effectively, his true threat emerges through relentless shooting and overwhelming opponents with grappling dominance. He referenced the punishment Chimaev inflicted on Robert Whittaker and emphasized how devastating Chimaev becomes once he secures control of his opponents.
Sean Strickland has a style where he gets in his Philly shell style, he walks forward, he throws he has a beautiful jab. He probably has the best jab in all of, the UFC, right? And the thing that Sean Strickland does have is he does have great takedown defense, which is kind of crazy because he stands right up like a fucking Christmas tree, which, typically you want to be down a little bit, have a little bit lower center of gravity, but like I said, he stands up like a telephone pole. And then when you look at Khamzat Chimaev can't box. He has knockouts, he's got great kicks, he's got great boxing, but he tends to go out there and shoot his takedown from 16 miles away, but he's able to land it and out grapple people. And he's very good about finishing people too. You look what
DJ ultimately selected Chimaev to defeat Strickland. He acknowledged that Sean has never truly been controlled or manhandled in grappling exchanges, but believes Chimaev represents the first fighter with the ability to accomplish this. Johnson stated that Chimaev has demonstrated more dangerous weapons throughout his career, particularly his ability to overwhelm elite competition early in fights. DJ did express concern about poor cardio management potentially making later rounds problematic for Chimaev. He suggested that if Sean weathers the initial assault, trouble could follow, yet despite this reservation, DJ still anticipated a controlling Chimaev performance and predicted a finishing victory.
Be fucking miserable for Khamzat Chimaev. Now, with all that being said, for Khamzat Chimaev taking on Sean Strickland, I'm going to have to go with Khamzat Chimaev. I think Khamzat Chimaev has just shown more in his fighting style. What he did to DDP, what he's been able to do to Kamaru Usman. He has a certain way that he goes about his fights, which is he goes out there and he takes everybody down. Sean Strickland has never been manhandled or out-grappled, and I think Khamzat Chimaev can do it, but he's got to manage the gas tank. I've seen him train before, and sometimes it's good to train as hard as you can. It's so good to train hard. But sometimes when you train that hard, when it comes to fight time, he might be overtrained. But I am going to predict a finish for Khamzat Chimaev, and he's going to be...
Michael Bisping analyzed Chimaev's combat approach by highlighting his wrestling credentials, knockout power, and improved conditioning after surviving 5 rounds with Dricus du Plessis. Bisping offered crucial insight about energy expenditure differences between wrestling heavy battles versus standing and trading strikes for 25 minutes with someone like Strickland. This distinction represents where Bisping sees Sean's opportunities emerging. He noted that Strickland possesses tremendous confidence in his takedown defense and believes he can either stuff attempts or scramble back to his feet quickly. Bisping suggested these constant scrambles and grinding sequences could become energy draining for Chimaev if the contest extends into championship rounds.
Now we know Khamzat is a force of nature. The wrestling is ridiculous, the power in the hands is phenomenal. The gas tank seems to have been solved, okay? Against Dricus, he went 5 rounds. However, caveat, he took down Dricus and he led on top of Dricus. I'm not saying he led on top of him just stalling. He was trying to finish. He was looking for submissions. He was putting him in a crucifix and trying to drop little elbows, and Dricus was burying his head and stuff like that. That kind of pace though, where you're stifling someone on top, is not the same as being on the feet and engaging in a war 4 or 5 rounds. They're two very, very different things. And Sean Strickland, if he has the ability to stop the takedowns, which by the way, he is very confident that he will, right? He thinks he can stop the takedowns. He thinks if he does get taken down, he will get back to his feet. He thinks he can even scramble on top.
But I think a part of him knows if we do wrestle, I'm just going to counter wrestle. I'll get up, I'll get on top.
Bisping then detailed what he considers Chimaev's primary vulnerability, which centers on cardio management under adversity. He pointed to Chimaev showing fatigue against Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns following explosive starts. Bisping added that if Strickland survives Chimaev's opening blitz and forces sustained striking exchanges, the situation could become dangerous for the Chechen afterward. However, he acknowledged that Chimaev's conditioning has improved significantly recently through weight management and training modifications.
And I do as well. If he can survive the first round or two, and it's such a cliched expression, but if Sean can survive the first round or two, never mind any of the emotions, or if he goes out there and doesn't fight an emotion, Strickland's always emotional. Khamzat's always emotional, and Khamzat's had some devastating performances, whether it was knocking out people with a one shot, whether it was picking up Li Jingliang and having a conversation with Dana White saying, I'm going to kill everybody, or whatever it was.
I'm coming for everybody, kill everybody.
Or fighting Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns and slowing down dramatically, right? They weren't phenomenal performances, but the other ones were. But that did show a weakness, a perceived weakness. Now, granted, Dricus du Plessis, he kind of had the same issue as well, didn't he? Remember? But then he went out there and he got a nose job. And then all of a sudden, the man's killing 5 rounds. Now, remember, another fact is that Khamzat Chimaev, up until quite recently, was 240 pounds. Now, we see videos of him all over. He's done his training camp in Newport Beach, California at the Santos Studios. He's training with Sam Calavita, a very unorthodox strength and
While supporting Chimaev, Bilal Muhammad emphasized one critical factor Khamzat must avoid. He cautioned against completely draining his energy reserves while pursuing an early stoppage, especially given the emotional intensity this fight will carry. Bilal expects Chimaev to enter angry and hunting for blood due to their personal animosity, but stressed the importance of maintaining patience. According to Muhammad, if Strickland survives the opening frame, Chimaev must stay disciplined enough to continue wrestling and systematically breaking him down rather than wasting energy forcing dramatic moments immediately. He admitted reluctance to even discuss Strickland's path to victory due to personal dislike. Still, he briefly mentioned Sean's jab and leg kicks as his strongest weapons, along with avoiding cage entrapment. Immediately after this analysis, Bilal returned to mocking Strickland, hoping he allows himself to get pressed against the fence and submitted quickly. He concluded by officially backing Chimaev for a dominant showing while urging him not to disappoint expectations. The verbal warfare continues escalating as both fighters refuse to dial down their hostility. From the start, Chimaev launched attacks on Strickland's courage and mental toughness. When questioned about spotting Sean around the hotel, he mocked him by claiming sources told him Strickland had fled his media obligations. Chimaev then referenced all the threats and wild statements Strickland had made previously. He highlighted the security presence around him while noting Strickland's absence. The discussion returned to their infamous sparring footage, where things became deeply personal. Chimaev explained he released the video because Sean constantly claims he only spars weaker opponents. From his perspective, the footage shows them merely playing around rather than serious sparring. He revealed that during those sessions, Strickland repeatedly complained to their coach about Chimaev hitting too hard. Additionally, he accused Sean of consistently lying about gym incidents. Chimaev encouraged media members to speak with witnesses who would corroborate his version. Even while discussing the title fight, Chimaev continued dismissing Strickland at every opportunity. He completely brushed off Sean's verbal attacks, calling him a clown and claiming indifference about his opponent. He escalated by stating Strickland no longer represents a significant challenge. Chimaev explained that having already defeated elite fighters and considering Duplessis has beaten Sean twice, defeating Strickland now proves little. This represented perhaps the most disrespectful moment, as he essentially treated Sean like an irrelevant name. Instead, Chimaev expressed interest in massive fights, mentioning Alex Pereira and even heavyweight possibilities. Strickland emerged aggressively when discussing Chimaev, immediately focusing on the increased security during fight week. Sean directly blamed Chimaev for creating the situation, calling him a primitive individual incapable of self-control for 5 days. Most notably, Sean accused Chimaev of hiding behind associates instead of handling situations man-to-man. According to Strickland, Chimaev talks about violence while avoiding direct confrontation. Sean claimed willingness to fight Chimaev anywhere outside the cage if challenged. He then explained why the personal nature of this rivalry motivates him tremendously. Sean admitted that fighting someone you genuinely despise makes everything easier because real emotion fuels every strike. The trash talk intensified when he critiqued Chimaev's fighting approach. Strickland suggested that if nobody in the division can stop Chimaev's wrestling, fans should abandon the UFC entirely. He ridiculed Chimaev by describing him as someone who merely stalls opponents through entire contests. Sean also attacked his character, claiming nobody wants an unlikable champion. Ultimately, this fight will likely be decided by whoever can impose their game plan and sustain it throughout the entire contest. Should Chimaev successfully execute early takedowns and control the pace, he should dominate from the opening bell. However, if Strickland proves durable and gradually wears down his opponent, this bout could transform into a genuine disaster for Chimaev. This dynamic makes the fight extremely difficult to predict. Who do you believe will emerge victorious in this clash?